is where the water tastes like wine.
Beautiful.
So this is a game about narrative. Instead of being a single narrative arc, there are actually 16. There are 16 main characters that have been written by 16 different authors. So they all have their own voice. And you are a traveler at the time of, the Great Depression era in the United States. And you are traveling, experiencing things, and your adventures that you're having on the road are going to become your tools. They are going to become sort of tokens in your inventory. Because when you meet people, what they want from you is stories. So you will sit across a fire from them, and they will ask you for certain kinds of stories, and you have to think back on your experiences and provide them with a story that fits the mood that they're looking for. And in exchange, they are going to tell you about their own life story. And if you want to talk with a developer, perfect.
No, so there's I'm the, I don't know, creative director slash programmer slash, I don't know, it's my baby, let's put it that way.
Sounds good to me.
But there's a bunch of other people involved.
Of where the water tastes like wine. So we just got the lowdown. What was kind of impetus for developing this game?
So I, after working on my last game, I took some time off to travel a bunch. I went backpacking around the world, and I spent a lot of time traveling from place to place, trying to avoid airplanes, like mostly traveling by train, by boat, by bus, things like that. Not because I don't like flying, but because it's almost like teleporting, you get into a plane at one place and you show up somewhere else and you have no idea what you just passed over to get there, right? If you travel along the ground, you get to see the deserts and the snowfields and the forests that that lie in between, right? So anyway, I was doing a lot of this traveling, and I was on a train in the middle of Siberia, and I was thinking about like what I wanted to make a game about next. And when you're traveling, you kind of run into people. You exchange tips. You say like, oh, you should definitely check this out. Watch out, I got my pocket pick here. Things like that. And I thought it would be neat to make a game about that. And I also I really enjoy like American roots music, jazz, blues, bluegrass, folk, things like that. And I wanted to kind of pull in that world, that place where you can sell your soul to the devil at the crossroads, or there's lonely gamblers looking for their one big score, or vengeful ghosts, right, haunting people. And so I decided to combine those two and sort of set this game in the middle of the Great Depression, the heyday of riding the rails around America and the kind of hobo era, right?
Yeah. Gotcha. Awesome. So, man, actually, I didn't even get, what's the name of your studio before I
it's Dim Bulb Games.
Dim Bulb
Yes.
Games. Excellent. So we make sure we have that documented.
No worries.
So what do you find meaningful about games?
Interesting.
As a creative genre?
So, tying into like this game specifically, I think that the stories have a lot of power, right? Our culture has a lot of power, and this game is very much about the fact that the idea of America is kind of a story that we tell ourselves over and over again, and maybe a collection of stories that we tell ourselves over and over again about who we are and what we stand for and what we are and things like that. And that story doesn't always match up with reality. But I think that, back in the day, those stories were told around a campfire, with your guitar or whatever sort of thing. These days, we have lots of different ways of telling stories, and video games are one of those ways. They're in fact, a very impactful, I think, kind of way to do that. If you've ever played something like Cart Life or Papers, Please, or one of the games that kind of seeks to put you in one of these systems and tell you the story of how various things work by enmeshing you in it, you can see the power of that storytelling right there. And so I think that's the important part of games.
Awesome. And so I was going to ask for an example. I'm guessing Papers, Please, or Cart Life would be two of those meaningful examples for you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think there's a lot of other ones too. There's a bunch of, especially these days, more and more people are making kind of personal story games about all sorts of fascinating things. Another one that I really liked was called Lim, and it's kind of about the challenge of existing in multiple spaces and this kind of like idea of passing privilege and so on and so forth. That queer folk struggle with, and then there's people are making all sorts of games about their lives and kind of bringing those to the forefront in a way that we haven't really seen in media or in stories necessarily before. So,
Thank you very much for talking to me. I appreciate it.
my pleasure. Yeah, thank you.